All right, we're going to check out this WildHawk pistol optic by CVLIFE today. One thing right off the bat I thought was cool about this, it will mount to RMSC and RMR because they include an adapter plate in there, so you can use it on either or, and also Glock MOS, 2 MOA dot, or you can switch it to the dot with a 32 MOA circle. I'll do my best to get some images of that for you guys and insert them in the video a little bit later. See there, motion awake, so you just got the shake awake. So you can either operate it manually or set it to where it will go off after a few minutes, and then as soon as you move it, it'll automatically kick back on. 10 different brightness settings, anti-reflection, IPX7 waterproof, and there's the rest of your stats. Let's get this guy out and take a look at her. Alright, so inside the box you'll find very detailed collared instructions. This does have a lifetime warranty. There's your screen wipe there. There's the optic itself. We'll pull that out in a second, take a look at it. Tool, 1 battery included. There's a bunch. Oh, sorry, 2 batteries included. That's cool. It only takes 1, so they send you 2 batteries. There's one of the plates for either the RMSC or the MOS. Oh, and okay, sweet. It takes a. It comes with a Picatinny adapter also, so if you wanted to mount it up on a rifle or shotgun, you can do that as well. I did not know that, so that's pretty sweet. Screws in there for it to mount to this. And then over here is going to be our hardware. Bunch of different screw sizes and thread pitch and length in there. And if I can get this to focus and the sun on it right, you can see it's got blue Loctite on it already. I've noticed that CVLIFE has started to do this with all of their red dot pistol optics now, and that stuff's nice because unlike the old-fashioned put the blue dropper on it and then you gotta wait overnight, at minimum preferably 24 hours for it to dry so your optic doesn't fly off while you're shooting it, you can just, with that dry thread locker that's already on them, put it on right at the range like we're going to do today, and it'll immediately lock it up and you're ready to go. You don't have to worry about it flinging off in your face, which I've had happen before with the goo type, because you got to give that kind type to you got to give that type time to set up and dry. So I'll get her mounted up on my Smith & Wesson Shield Plus there in just a second. Typically I'll use a shoot and see target, but I have that set up for the rifle range. I'm about to head down to the rifle range and do some accuracy tests down there, so I don't want to put a bunch of bullet holes in my fresh target. So we're just going to use this gong to sight it in. 16-inch steel gong. I'll get some ranges for you guys because this is a different bay than I usually use here. So we'll pull the rangefinder out in a second. So after we get her zeroed, then we'll knock down some steel, and I don't know, that's a pretty steep hill back there. I might plink at that guy a few times, but let's go ahead and get her mounted up on there and get her zeroed. And there's an up close of the optic for you. Clearly marked windage and elevation. And then there's your side battery tray. So you do not have to dismount this to replace the battery. And then you also got some makeshift rear sights there built into this for some co-witness with certain pistols. Alright, got her mounted up there, so go ahead and load up and hit this gong and see what adjustments I need to make. Alright, the eyes and ears I'm wearing today, most comfortable pair of safety glasses and safety ears, ear muffs I've ever worn. They're by Shell Shock, linked in the description. Oh, looks like I guessed right there. They're pretty much hitting right where I'm putting the dot. When I first put it on, it was considerably low, so I had to give it a bunch of clicks up. I just lined them up with my sights basically, and without, you know, shooting a paper target to be 100% sure, that's pretty dang close. At least that's pretty much where I was aiming. So I wanted you guys to at least see and hear these clicks. They are audible and they give a nice forced feedback. But I did notice the one on the top much more so than the one on the side, but the side one's still audible and gives nice little force feedback clicks. though not nearly as much. So I'm going to try to make sure I put it back where it was. But here we go. Hopefully you guys can hear this. Okay. And then for the elevation here, man, I hope I'm in focus. This one's a lot louder for some reason. So nice audible and force feedback clicks, but for some reason, at least on this one, the top one is about twice as loud as the one on the side, but they're both giving me clicks there. So alright, so from back here behind the table, which we'll do in a second, the closest targets there are 10 yards, 10.3, and then the furthest targets, like that little devil guy back there, or whatever you would call it, is 12 yards from right here behind the camera. And if you guys are looking to get yourself a good budget rangefinder, link in the description for this one. I've been using it for years. So if I step in front of the table here, it's going to be about 7 to 9 yards. So this is my first time ever trying to hand load through this. It's actually a 30 super carry, so there's not much load data for this. And our rounds were a little underpowered, so I kept having jams. It gets worse, you'll see, due to these hand loads being underpowered. Well, it appears these hand loads aren't quite hot enough. Having a little issue there with these, but that's why. I felt like something stung me, and I mean stung like a bug, not like shrapnel or anything. Like I said earlier in the video, this is a different bay than I usually run at, so some of those are hard to knock over. I had to hit the very tippy top of them to get them to fall. Now, it's never going to look as good on camera, but I noticed right off the bat, this thing has just about, if not the smallest, brightest, most crisp little 2 MOA dot there. And then see what that focus, it's making it look huge. I'm gonna have to work on getting some pictures with this guy, which I'll still throw in the video of both reticles. But that dot is so very small and fine, so, but still plenty bright. Obviously I'm in full sun here. I got it cranked up all the way. You can see it no problem. But usually I don't crank my optics up all the way on the brightness because I don't need to, because it's actually a little too bright for me. This one's just as bright as all of those, but because the dot is so small and fine, I'm actually able to use it all up on, use it all the way up on full brightness. I could still turn it down a few clicks and see it just fine, but because it's so teeny tiny, where's my hand? I can't even see my camera because it's full sun out here. I'm having a hard time seeing the screen. But because that dot is so teeny tiny, which I like, it's better for precision work, I'm actually able to turn it all the way up without it completely blinding me. So hopefully I can get some decent images of it and the other reticle that you can switch it to. I'll insert that in the video here in a few minutes for you guys. Remember, if these don't fall, I didn't miss per se. It's just not, some of these aren't wanting to fall over for me. Okay, I definitely missed a few there. Let's go out there and slow down just a tad bit, make sure we hit those. Again, we got those two stubborn ones. I hit them multiple times. They're just not falling over for us. And here comes a bunch more jams from those hand loads. I don't know why all of a sudden it got way worse. It was working pretty decent there, but it's like every other shot now. I was just trying to get a different angle for you guys on the optic here, so I won't make you sit through all this. Just a few shots, I guess. I was trying to do a little for you, but she keeps jamming up on me. So this is the first time we reloaded these, and we're basically doing workup loads again because there's not a lot of data, and it is a high pressure round compared to, you know, like 9mm or what have you. So you notice on the sticker there it says 1095 feet per second, and for a 100 grain bullet that's actually pretty slow. Typically a 100 grain bullet they're advertising like 1250, but that's why we're having the malfunctions, because the loads are too light. The primers and the cases and everything look great, so it's just time for us to step up the powder charge a little. Also, a huge shout out and thanks to my buddy Brad for helping me with these reloads. Alright, so on to the 3 different reticles. Now, do you remember how I said earlier in the video that this is the finest, smallest, most vibrant, crisp, little 2 MOA red dot I've ever seen? I was having difficulty getting images of these reticles, more so than usual for some reason, with my camera. So for the first time ever, it actually looks, well, for me, compared to my eyesight, because I have an astigmatism and usually the dots look a little fuzzy, blurry to me. Typically on red dots, when I take images, they actually look better on camera than they do to my own personal eye. But these images I captured here for you today, it actually looks better to my own personal eye because, again, this is the most fine, crisp, vibrant red dot I've ever seen. But so you're seeing a little hazing in the picture around that red dot there, and the dot itself is actually more like the little concentrated brighter area in the center. And to capture these photos, I was having to stand kind of far back with the camera and then zoom in on the optic, and then it would only give me about 1 second to snap the picture before it completely switched the focus to where you couldn't see the dot or the reticle at all. So I basically had to keep starting with the camera off to the side, focused on the trees in the background, line it up real quick and snap a photo as quickly as I possibly could before it would switch focus on me and then you couldn't see it at all. So these images are less than perfect for that reason, because I had less than a second to snap it before I lost the image when the camera would try to automatically refocus. So yeah, this actually looks better in person than what you're seeing here. And as I show these other reticles here, they're going to look kind of like fuzzy. I don't know if fuzzy is the right word, but it looks far more crisp with thinner lines for the reticles in person than what I could capture with the camera here. But these images will serve well enough to give you guys kind of an idea of what you're looking at least, even though it looks better in person. So with that said, here's the 32 MOA circle. Previously was the 2 MOA dot, obviously. And then now here's the third reticle option, the 32 MOA circle with the dot in the center. Again, looks much better in person. So sorry about all the technical difficulties there with the ammo, but yeah, I really like this thing. As I hit on earlier, this has about the finest, crispest little 2 MOA dot I've ever seen, and then when I switch to the other reticles, they're very fine and crisp. Also, and I have an astigmatism, usually without my glasses, they're absolutely horrible for me, the big fuzzy and starburst. But this one, without my glasses, and it doesn't matter which reticle I have it set on, it looks as good as most of the other ones I've tried with my glasses. So then when I put my glasses on, and again, this is not typical for me, it looks almost perfect. There's just the smallest hint of little, I mean like 5% around the edges maybe. So this is the clearest, most crisp dot and 32 MOA reticle and reticle with dot that I've ever used. The only better ones I've used were designed specifically to address an astigmatism, and for me they seem to work pretty well, but this one's no special design or anything like that. And yeah, without my glasses, this one is looking as good to me as what most do with my glasses, and then when I put them on, almost perfect. Which with the other ones, with my glasses on, it's only bearable and tolerable and usable, whereas without them, can't hardly use it at all because of my astigmatism. This one looks as good without my glasses as the others do with my glasses. So I'm very impressed with the emitter on this, and the dot. And like I said, it doesn't matter whether it's the dot or the 32 MO ring, or put the dot in the ring. And usually I avoid using the ring or the ring with the dot because, again, even with my glasses, they look a little fuzzy to me because of my astigmatism. So they kind of just like distract me from the targets. But I wouldn't have any issue using that reticle on this one with my glasses on for sure. And I've tested a few of their optics, so I've not had any issues with those, not having any issues with this one. They all hold 0. So yeah, this is actually this is the best one I've tried by CVLIFE so far, and one of the best overall, at least if you have an astigmatism problem like I do. So I'm really liking this guy. And then, like I said, it's also awesome that you can do, if you want a small compact one for carry, which is usually why somebody will want a small little compact red dot like that, you can even put it on a larger pistol with an RMR cut. Like I said earlier in the video, they provide the adapter plate so you can run a small compact sight if you are carrying a larger pistol than this. And then also comes with the Picatinny mount as well, so you can put it on a rifle or shotgun. Lots of positives. I see no negatives, which usually I can find something to pick that I don't like. Say the only negative for me, and it's not a negative, it's just personal preference. I like the larger red dots because I like the bigger window. But if you're wanting a small compact one like this, I have 0 complaints. I'm actually going to have high praise for it. Very impressed. But I'll quit yapping. Appreciate you guys stopping by and checking this one out. Again, it'll be linked in the description. For any of the other products you see me use in my videos, like my steel target stand I usually have down here, paper targets I use, safety glasses, earmuffs, rangefinder, way more. Links in the description for all that. And for products I cannot link to on YouTube, check out my campsite page, which is linked under the video. Leave me a comment down below, tell me what you think, and I hope to catch you on the next one.